Take a look at this image. At a quick glance, it looks like a high-quality Minecraft build. But then you start to look closer, and that's when you notice a bunch of defects and deformities, eventually realizing that this build was generated by AI. And that's far from the only one. There's hundreds of thousands of these quote-unquote builds scattered everywhere. So I'm gonna make them better, with 3 builds, each scaling in size and complexity, to show everyone how bad these AI builds are, and even how AI in general is bad for creative people. So this is gonna go ahead and be the first one we look at. As you see at the bottom, AI modified. We love it. So before even opening Minecraft, we're going to create something called a mood board. Now you may be asking yourself, what the hell is a mood board? A mood board is basically a collage of references that you use in order to create something. A lot of artists use this whenever they're drawing because you're able to pick and choose certain things that you like, and from there you're able to Frankenstein stuff together into your own thing. So what I'm going to do is get some actual references instead of using this AI one. So let's go ahead and search up Minecraft grass gateway. Okay, this one has a really good path that I like. We'll copy that image and we'll go ahead and just paste it into Photoshop and we'll just plop it right there for right now. Okay, I actually really like the rock work on this one. This one actually looks really nice. I think this one was also created in Bedrock. This looks like a screenshot from a computer. Ooh, this one's really good. It's like a really mini nether portal. Look at this one. It's even got a zombie head there. I love it. So right now we have our builds as our references. Now because Minecraft has a lot of blocks, all varying in color, it can be hard to know which ones to choose specifically. So that's why while also planning some sort of color palette can also help. All right, we have our 3 color palettes here. The green, obviously, for the grass. We have the red and pinks because that's going to be like the flowers that you see on some of these builds. And then the blue is also going to be for the flowers as well, but of course the water that is trickling down. And so with my mood board finally finished, it was finally time to open up Minecraft and apply the references to help me with my build. I think the first thing I want to go ahead and do is lay out kind of the bottom area. So I'm just going to create a random shape here. And I know this does not look appealing, but it's only the shape. Let's do a stone slab there. Maybe having some andesite mixed in as well, because I think it's still too much cobblestone. Cobblestone is a very low use block. We shouldn't have that much cobble. So my vision is to actually have the water right here that drapes down like a little waterfall that goes all the way down through the grass. So that's where we're gonna need a little bit of a hole. Just adding in the little details. And you'll hear me say that all the time, is just adding details. Because that's all building is just adding more and more to give it some more depth and separation. Let's go in and add our flow of water so we get a good idea of where it's going. All right, so right now it is going forward, which is good, but as you can see, it's kind of it's going everywhere. So what I gotta do is go in and hone down on the water and kind of target and pinpoint where it's gonna go. Okay, we got our direction of water going. We have our stonework pretty much complete, and now of course we got to add the fence at the top. And I kind of have a really cool idea of it kind of just being an abandoned gateway, you know, something from ancient times that was recently discovered. Fill it in with some moss. All right, that looks good. And then we throw in some stone buttons. You can never forget stone buttons. These are basically just like little pebbles. All right, we're gonna clear our inventory. We're gonna start adding in the details. All right, so we got the bamboo, we have our grass, and then if you're ever lazy and you don't want to decorate a bunch of flowers, bone meal does exist, so you could just always, and there you go. And if you wanted to, you could add like a little pathway around the right and left sides. Oh, I mean, now look at that with the shaders. It's just beautiful. Okay, what if I do time set night? Oh yeah. And again, I didn't even use that many references. I just used like 5 pictures and 3 color palettes. And I was able to create all of this just from those things. And you want to know what the great thing is about references? Is that you don't have to just use Minecraft builds. You could use paintings, you could use photos, drawings. And believe it or not, they could actually help you more than what AI can. Up next on the list, we have this thing. It's a tower with an emerald, amethyst, purple, emerald portal. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's a castle. It's like a little tower. The rock work just kind of blends into the tower. Yeah, the more I look at it, the more confused I get. I think, but the point is that doesn't look good. Clearly, this person thinks differently. This person knows what's up. I like that. And as you can see here, I've already went ahead and set up my mood board. Over here, we have our 3 color palettes. So here we have some good references for our floating islands. And then obviously the rest are tower references for the structures, because they could get pretty complicated. Now, I've actually done a fair bit of floating islands in the past, so I'm a little bit of an expert in this specific field. Now, the first thing we have to realize whenever it comes to building islands is light. So for this, we are going to need a bit of a gradient. Thankfully, there's a mod that actually helps us with this. If you've seen one of my videos before, you've probably heard of this mod called Axiom. And if you haven't, buddy, you are in for a treat. Axiom is probably the best building mod for Minecraft. You could use it to help make crazy terrain, help with coloring and texturing, and as you saw, based on a certain color, use that to get the block you want. And now, if you were to go and look at my hotbar, you could see we have andesite, stone, cobblestone, deep slate, smooth basalt, and blackstone. And if you were to kind of blur your eyes already, you can kind of see how the gradient works. Okay, that is the shape of our island built. Looks pretty good. So of course, you gotta start with blackstone on the bottom. Another thing you want to do is when it comes to transitioning between different blocks, you don't want to do it harsh. You don't want a straight line. Think of it a lot like if you were blending 2 colors together. There you go, now that's looking a lot better. Now, looking back at the reference images, I kind of like how some of the towers have a sort of mound that it stands on. The tower isn't directly connected to the floor, and I think that'll actually fit really well. Now, obviously, looking at this lower palette, which was going to be my building blocks, it can be a bit difficult to figure out what blocks I actually need. Thankfully for us, there are many websites that we could use. My personal favorite, however, is Block Palettes, which is basically a website where you could search up pretty much any sort of block in Minecraft and see what works well with it. I think going for a nice dark brown, like a spruce and a packed mud, or the mud brick, would be really nice. Then let's go ahead and do this. So now that we have the mound out of the way, we can go ahead and start working on the actual castle. So again, it's going to be a circle, so we got to get in the dead center, which I believe is right there. I kind of eyeballed it. Okay, so now that the actual tower structure is done, we're going to wait to do the roof until I get the kind of texturing of the tower built. So it's going to enable a replace mode, which basically instead of me having to break blocks, you could see whichever block I highlight, it'll replace it. All right, how is that looking? Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, look at that. This looks like a really good tower. Next on the list with the tower done is our roof. Now, of course, looking at the color palette that we had on our mood board, I went ahead and chose a couple of blocks that would probably best fit the roof. Now, roofs are always kind of tricky because they're very, very intricate, and sometimes it can look really bad. Most of the times it can look pretty bad. Yeah, okay, there you go. See, now that shape is a lot better. You can kind of see how it goes very exponential. It goes, I don't know what that noise was, but yeah, it looks a lot better like that. Okay, how's this look? Yeah, it's actually pretty good, especially if I squint my eyes. And if we look at this, you can kind of start to see how this is going to come together. So as I go ahead and clear my inventory, we're going to start adding the details. Details are always something that is very confusing to do because it can get complicated pretty fast. So that's why, you know, you kind of have to put a stopping point at a certain point or else you're just going to be here forever. But I mean, this is looking really nice. And one thing I'll also add is I like to do these kind of hanging vines. This one actually looks really nice. Again, the details are always the hardest thing for me, but hey, with a bunch of references, you'll get there. Now, before we get on to the final and hardest build, I have actual merch made by real artists. So if you do want to check that out, the link will be in the description. As well as if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. I'm almost at 200,000 and it'd be greatly appreciated. Now, the past 2 builds I've made have been fairly straightforward. And because I was using references as well as building knowledge that I've gained over the past couple years, it made it fairly easy. But much like people who generate AI art, their excuse is, well, they can't make it themselves. And so, what if I built something that I've never made before? So obviously what we're looking at here is the mood board for the final build. And if there's one thing you can see that is common throughout this build is a bunch of statues. I have never done anything with anatomy in Minecraft ever. I can't even draw humans in real life. And that's a 2-dimensional plane. This is 3-dimensional. but I trust the process. I think I'm gonna start with the head. Typically, whenever you draw, I feel like most people start with the head, and then from there, you kind of build down the torso, the waist, the arms, and the legs. So that's gonna be kind of my process for this. So we have gotten this body, we've gotten the head and the torso done. Oh my goodness. Then the face kind of contorts pretty sharp, so it's not gonna be like a circle. If anything, it's like, again, it's like an oval. But I also gotta make sure it looks right from the front as well. And that's gonna be one of the biggest problems I needed to face, was that not only does it need to look good from the front, but also needs to look good from the side and back. Because yeah, it indents before the chin, because the chin's right here. So the chin's right here, the head has to indent in, and then kind of go back out, you know? But I mean, that looks good. I think this is a head. So from here, we have our statue, right? We have a kind of a good color palette going. We have the base body and the face set up. From here, that does mean we will have to build legs. So for the legs, I'm gonna have it kind of in a floating pose where it has one knee up and kind of the other one pointed downwards. How does that look? Not bad. Actually, you know what I think? Wait, okay, this actually might help. Let's get the path tool and let's go to this first joint and let's make it about like that. And then from here to there, is that too tall? I think we could offset it by 8. That's too much. 5. Yeah, okay, that looks good. And then from there to there, we do 2. Okay, how's this look? Okay, that doesn't look bad. I think the thighs are a little much. I think we gave them thunder thighs. Okay, that looks a lot better. Yeah, I think I just had it a little too wide there. I think definitely have to like round this shape out to make it not seem weird. Let's go ahead and try to shape the feet. Now, even though the feet were really small, it was actually one of the hardest things to build. So much so, I literally had to take a reference of my own foot just to match the shape right. From the front, it doesn't look exactly perfect, but again, this is just blocking stuff out. I have high hopes that it'll look better once we add the actual blocks. What's funny enough is I actually think the pose I have now is a surprisingly good one to use for this statue. And it's totally not because I could paste the left side to the right side because the pose is exactly the same. Totally not it. So much like the legs, I'm just gonna get about right there is, I believe, where the arm would be. Then forward. My brain is thinking. Okay, and what should I do for the hands? Okay, I'm thinking I'm just gonna go mittens, which basically means just a thumb and like an oval. I don't want to do hands, dude. I can't even draw hands in real life. How the hell am I supposed to do that in Minecraft? I mean, to be fair, I can't even draw humans yet. This is yet somehow easier. I don't know why. Okay, that's actually not too shabby. I'm trying to figure out how to do the thumb though. Okay, that looks a lot better. Let's just connect these bad boys. I think that's good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and paste this on the other side just to see how this looks, because I need to see both sides to get like just a good idea of how much I absolutely nailed this. Oh my god. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than let's just get started with the coloring. I don't know if you're able to tell here, but I was so locked in on this build. At this point in time, I did not even speak a single word for like 20 minutes. And moments like that are just so satisfying. You're just following through with it. And that's one of the greatest things that you could have when you're creating something. All right, now time for the feet. I know for the feet, much like the hands, I'm gonna have to add some stairs, slabs, just because I know, again, this is not, it is a very anatomical part of the body. It's a smaller part of the body, which means that you have to be a little bit more specific, you know? You know? That's feet. I'd call that feet. Now, if you couldn't tell already, this statue is clearly floating. So you have to ask yourself, how are they floating? Oh, you already know, we're adding wings. So the center is right here. So the wings will go like this. I feel like the wings almost for sure goes higher than the head. Yeah, I feel like it needs to be more like this. So with wings, they typically, you know, at least from references that I've seen, they go from like thin to thick to thin again, and then they just kind of connect all at the back. It's actually kind of ironic while making this video that a company actually posted on Twitter a program that could make builds in Minecraft using AI, which is funny because it kind of defeats the point of the game. But on the other hand, it's actually really disheartening because this isn't the only company that's doing it. Recently, a lot of major companies have started to endorse AI, especially when you think that they'd be the last company to ever endorse AI. And so when people see this, they kind of get this perception that, oh, it's okay to use it, when it really isn't. There we go. Now it looks better. And this time for the color palette, I'm going to try something a little different. Basically, for the highlights, I've been using diorite, but what I'm going to try using is smooth sandstone and birch. Hopefully, if I do it right, it might actually blend in really well. Because something I really want is I do want the wings to contrast a lot with the body. So that's my goal here. It'll pop out, yet blend in. If that makes sense. I was really fortunate enough as a kid that my parents let me express my creativity in a bunch of different ways, whether that was through music, film, drawings, and even YouTube. I've been a creative person my whole life, and that's something that I don't want to be taken away from me. And I know a lot of people feel the same way. Okay. Whoa, okay, the highlights are actually looking really good. And now it's time for the opposite. The shadows. God, that sounded so cringy. I'm actually really liking that. So now we just gotta properly place it. So we want like that. Enter. Okay. How does this look? Oh. This looks insane. Oh my god, this looks insane. Oh my god, dude. This is insane! This is actually crazy. At its core, art is about creating something. And it's obviously not just exclusive to Minecraft. Whether it's a YouTube video, film, a drawing, a song, at the end of the day, art is a process, not just a product. Even if you're really bad at something, that's fine. Because I guarantee you people would rather see that than something made by a computer.